in the online.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So
स्क्रीन पर आपको एक
just let me just see which one to be pressed. Sharing, na?
yes sir.
That is share screen, entire screen. Okay. To be pressed. Arun, this is visible?
Yes sir, you are
Yeah,
Slide?
yes,
visible
sir.
sir. Yes sir.
It is visible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can start now or we'll wait for some time?
Let us wait for 2-3 minutes, sir, more.
Okay.
And you can
Okay.
see Professor Dhruva Mukhopadhyay today. He has shown his face, and Professor Dilip Mukhopadhyay is also here.
Ah, great, great, great. So though they are showing their faces, but their mind is with us only. वो दिल उनका
Right.
इधर ही है.
So Arun,
Yes
let
sir.
us wait for 2-3 minutes, and then we'll start.
Yes sir, yes sure sure.
Okay. Okay, कितना वाला है? Hmm. Oh, very nice. So Arun, I think
Yes sir.
you introduce sir to the
Okay.
audience.
Okay. So should we start sir?
Okay. Ah, sure.
Okay, okay. Good afternoon, all, and welcome to the SGT SGI monthly e-lecture series. It is my pleasure to introduce Professor Tapas Kumar Biswal sir to the SGT SGI monthly e-lecture series. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation on such a short notice. Uh, Biswal sir is currently working as a visiting professor at IIT Bhubaneswar. Before this, he served IIT Bombay for more than 30 years. Biswal sir has a long and distinguished record for both academic and research excellence. I will try to touch upon some of his notable contributions. Biswal sir is an expert in the field of structural geology and tectonics. His research focuses on the analysis of meso and microscopic strain fabrics in ductile shear zones, and he has been made significant contribution to the understanding of the tectonics of supercontinents like Gondwana land and Rodinia. His work is particularly notable in deciphering the deformation and tectonic settings of regions such as Eastern Ghats Mobile Belt, Delhi Aravalli Fold Belt, and the Southern Granite Terrane. His excellent research contribution is orchestrated by his more than 80 national and international publications. For his excellence in teaching, he received the Excellence in Teaching Award from IIT Bombay several times. Notably, he is also the recipient of the prestigious National Mineral Award in 2008. Uh, with this, now I humbly request Biswal sir to deliver his lecture. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Arun.
My pleasure, sir.
Good afternoon to all of you. Before I begin, all my regards to Professor Dhruva Mukhopadhyay and Professor Dilip Mukhopadhyay, from whom I have learned many things, Dhruva Mukhopadhyay is uncomparable. Professor Mukhopadhyay is uncomparable. I wish him to live long and contribute his knowledge to the students' younger group. Dilip Mukhopadhyay is a master in Himalayan geology. Besides these two great people, there may be many. Mr. Nanda is there, Jayanta Nanda, and other stalwarts, they might be there in the meetings. So they are my, in fact, the teachers, So if there are some shortcomings, there are some deviations from the usual interpretations, please excuse me. And there are my younger brothers, friends. I am very happy to be with you today. Though I have taken retirement, and now as Arun told, I have contributed. Yes, part of my job I have contributed, but now I have become very slow, Though I am still working here as a teacher with students, but the progress is not so fast because IIT Bhubaneswar does not have much facility. Okay, so let us begin. So today I will be talking about the Eastern Ghats Mobile Belt and particularly focusing on the Terrane boundary. So Terrane boundary means one which bounds the Eastern Ghats Mobile Belt, or you can say it defines the margin with the surrounding craton. So this will be my talk. Now this is a very mixture of many things, but I will be explaining you one by one. Now first one, you see the central one where geological map of India is shown, where all the proterozoic mobile belts are delineated. Now these proterozoic mobile belts, as you know, they define the pressed part or compressed part of a sedimentary basin or a oceanic basin between two cratonic masses. Now this mobile belts has undergone Wilson cycle. So as you know, Wilson cycle involves subduction, collision, all these processes, and this Indian mobile belts has undergone such Wilson cycle many times. Generally we define 3 times because that has been told: Columbia, Rhodesia, Gondwana land. These 3 origins generally we define, but in between there may be many, which the signatures are not very much evident, or they are very poorly preserved. So these mobile belts are part of the Wilson cycle that has taken place during Proterozoic time. Now because of this Wilson cycle, the mobile belt shows deformation of structures, folds, interference pattern, shear zones, faults. Along with that, metamorphism to different degrees, right from green schist facies to granulite facies. You can take the example, Singhbhum mobile belt is mostly green schist to amphibolite facies. Aravali mobile belt is of low to medium grade, but Eastern Ghats is a very high grade granulite belt. So different degrees of metamorphism they have taken place, but they are exposed, because of the exhumation at different level of the crust. Now, these mobile belts has a very characteristic features. This is what I have observed, which I am going to, that will be the main focus of the talk today. Now, you come to, so we are talking about the proterozoic mobile belts, but you come to Himalayan mobile belt. Himalayan mobile belt is a tertiary mobile belt. But if you see this tertiary mobile belt, it is not a very straight running mobile belt. or the belt, it has many syntaxial bends, like Nanga Parbat syntaxial bend, this northeast syntaxial bend. So these bends are the result of many factors. There are many reasons why these syntaxial bends are produced. Now, I contribute, or I think in this way, there could be some promontory loss like Nanga Massif, or there could be some transverse faults like Karakoram fault is cutting across the entire Himalaya. That is somewhere here. The Karakoram fault will be somewhere like this, this must be cutting like this. And this Lohit Rangi thrust, they must be cutting like this. These are the faults. So apart from that, there are many. So you can see these faults in the top map. You see this fault is cutting like this. Similarly, here it is cutting like this. So these transfer faults are also responsible for giving these orogenic flexures along with the massives. Massives are there, their contribution is definitely to be appreciated, but same time also you have these transverse faults. Now you come to Aravallis. Aravalli has a very specific bending. Now you can see this bending, You see this bending around Biraj granite. You see this bending, you see. So from northeast direction, it has come to northwest direction. And many people think it is because of this Biraj granite. This Biraj granite is the promontory when these two land masses, the Bundelkhand and Marwar Craton, they collided, this band was produced. So Biraj granite is the massive. And apart from that, there is one more fault in this transverse faults, which cross-cut the entire Aravalli Mobile Belt. Say that is something like this, That is called bonus lineament or bonus fault. So this bonus fault has been vividly described by Sinara. So at different parts, but I have traced it through Delhi supergroup also. This fault continues through Delhi supergroup. It is not only confined to Biraj granite or Aravallis, it continues into Delhi supergroup even further west. So probably the combination of these two factors, the Biraj granite as well as this bonus lineaments, they are responsible for this flexure or this orogenic flexure in Aravalli. Similarly, you come to Singhbhum Craton. The Singhbhum Mobile Belt, you can see, is an arcuate mobile belt. This arcuate mobile belts, you must have read also, is because of the Singhbhum granite. Because of the collision between Chotnagpur terrain and the Singhbhum Craton, these mobile belts took arcuate shape. Now, not only that, if you come to the eastern side of Singhbhum Craton, this part, that shear zone becomes north-south almost. Shear zone becomes north-south, almost right angle to the Singhbhum Mobile Belt. So this is a transverse structure to the Singhbhum Mobile Belt. Now, the most important part, which we are going to discuss today, is the Eastern Ghats Mobile Belt. Now, if you see this map, this Eastern Ghats Mobile Belt, you see the Eastern Ghats Mobile Belt, it is like this, it goes and like this. Now, this Eastern Ghats Mobile Belt has a great flexure. It's a very prominent flexure. It goes like this and takes a turn like this. It has a northeast-southwest trend. But as you go toward the northern margin, that is with the Singhbhum Craton, it takes a east-west turn. So this produces a very big flexure, orogenic flexure, somewhere near Fulbani. Fulbani, there is a place. Of course, Fulbani area is famous for many massives, but massives as well as this transverse structure, it is becoming east-west. So these structures are responsible for giving rise to this Eastern Ghats flexure. Now, point is this flexure, you see, this flexure, Eastern Ghats flexure is going into Antarctica. And then we make many correlations. So that part, northern part, we correlate with the Pridge Bay part, or the Mahanadi Graben part is correlated with the Lambert Rift part. So, or we can say the Rengali province, which is occurring in the northern part of Eastern Ghats Mobile Belt, that we correlate with the Pridge Bay part. Pridge Bay part. So all these correlations are possible only because we are finding this flexure, continuing into Antarctica. Continuing into Antarctica. So this transverse faults is a very important structure in all the orogens, whether it is a proterozoic orogen or a tertiary orogen, does not matter, but these transverse structures are very important. The point is, what made these transverse structures? Why these transverse structures are so prominent? And they are almost cross-cutting the entire mobile belt. Now, let us go to Eastern Ghat only, because we cannot discuss Himalaya or Aravalli or Singhbhum Craton in a short time, but let us confine to Eastern Ghat only. Now, if you go to Eastern Ghat, see, this paper or this work, I have gone through all these literatures. Only I have shown a few, but many are still there. But the important references I have given here. Now, point is, you see the geometry of Eastern Ghat Mobile Belt. So, this will tell you many things about this structure. Now, you can see the Terrane margin. You can see the Terrane margin here, which is taking a turn near Pike Mall or Lakhna, and then it is becoming east to west. It is going towards Sukinda. Sukinda is somewhere here. Dhauli is very close to Bhubaneswar. So this part is the northern part. Here the litho units are east-west or west-northwest, east-southeast. So this is the Rengali province. Rengali province is a mixture of Eastern Ghat rocks and Singhbhum Craton rocks. Together they are forming the Rengali province. Some people say it is a part of Singhbhum Craton, but some of the age data shows there are some proterozoic ages. That is why I think it is a mixture. It is a transition between Eastern Ghats and the Singhbhum Craton. Now, you see, I have worked here in this area, the Dharamgad area, Lakhna area, and now I am working in the northern part, Rengali area, Mahanadi shear zone area. Now, if I go from the Dharamgad area, you see this shear zone is very well marked, extremely prominent shear zone between the Bastar Craton and the Eastern Ghat Mobile Belts. One can see Eastern Ghat granulites, the phondalites or the charnokites, and as you cross over, you will find a zone of nearly 2 to 3 kilometer wide zone of myelonites. These myelonites are developed on the Bastar granites. See, Bastar area, no, Bastar Craton has two prominent granite. One is granite gneiss, which is around 3 billion years old, and there is another intrusive granite, which is potash feldspar ridge, 2.4 billion year granite. They are intrusive to granite gneiss. That granite somehow, occurs very close to this Eastern Ghats. So that 2.4 billion year granite is a undeformed granites. It is massive granites. So it has preserved all these myelonitic structures because the original rock is a homogeneous rock or homophonous rock. Over that the myelonitization is being impressed. So all the myelonitic structures, porphyroclast, SC fabric, all those things are very well preserved in this myelonitic zone. So one can study several or all aspects of a shear zone from this area. It is a very good area for students mapping purpose also of a shear zone. But as you go towards south, means Koraput district and further south, the chance or that fortune of having a undeformed granite close to this shear zone is lost. So in those areas, the granite gneisses are there. Granite gneisses means the tonalite, tronzomite gneisses. Those type of gneisses will occur in contact with the in contact with the Eastern Ghats rocks. So the myelinization has affected those tonalite, tronzomite gneisses, but the structures are very poorly preserved because the earlier structure is influencing earlier structural orientation. Suppose there is a nicety plane, there are some amphibolite bendings. So those structures, they are very much controlling the development of the new structures. So as a result, what happens? The study of those myelinatic fabric is little ambiguous, but an expert person can read it definitely. But this is not as good as from the Dharamgad and Lakhna area. This is an excellent area where myelonites are preserved. So this area we have studied, and what we have found, the thrust, this is a thrust, the granulites have been over-thrusted the Bastar Craton. So this is what we have found by interpreting the shear kinematics. But most importantly, in the craton, there is a swarm of dikes. There is a swarm of dikes. Rhyolite dike, all are north-south, nearly north-south, north-northwest, south-southeast. Rhyolite, trachyte, then trachyte, then dolerite dikes are there. Several dikes are there near Lakhna. They are in the craton. Some of those dikes are also deformed by this shear zone, Terrane boundary shear zone. So those dikes have been dated to be 1.4 billion year. 1.4 billion year. That is the first observation we made. Then we did some paleomagnetic studies of those dikes that produced very good results. I am not going to that, but my point is this 1.4 billion year dikes, they have been affected by this shearing. Now, second feature is the nepheline cyanide intrusives. Nepheline cyanide intrusives are occurring along the shear zone. They are not in the crater. They are within the myelonite. Within the myelonite. Well, this is very controversial. Very controversial in the sense its fabric is diversified. In the sense, somewhere you will get the imprint of metamorphism, strong nicety, and somewhere you will find there is no metamorphism, but magmatic fabrics are very prominent. Magmatic fabrics means nepheline, alkali feldspar grains are oriented parallel to the myelinatic foliations. So these two types of fabrics, made us to believe probably there are multiple stages of nepheline cyanide intrusions. At least two. One is which is metamorphosed, and second one which is metamorphosed but it has come during shearing. That is why it is retaining a magmatic fabric. These two nepheline cyanides we could identify. So one which is having metamorphic fabric, it has very varied range of ages. It is 1.4 billion year are there, 1.2 billion year is there, some 900 million year is there. So different ages. So let us tell them older nepheline cyanides. But there the magmatic fabric nepheline cyanides is much younger. We have determined around 500 million year. So what we interpreted probably in an earlier orogenic cycle, this has come, and this 500 million year nepheline cyanide came during thrusting, because it has a fabric, magmatic fabric, which is parallel with the myelinatic foliation. So from these two edges, we concluded that 500 million year is the age of thrusting. That is our conclusion. And the older one might be representing some older phases of metamorphism, deformation. We could not conclude anything that time. So that is the story of this area. So we have 1.4 billion year magmatic intrusion in form of dikes, in form of nepheline cyanide intrusions. Another phase of intrusion is 500 million year. They are your nephrin cyanide inclusions. So with this now we went towards north. Then we found this shear zone, taking a very sharp turn near Sonpur. Then it is becoming again north-south. Then it is becoming east-west. So the first sharp turn where it is taking, there this Mahanadi shear zone starts. From that sharp turn, Mahanadi shear zone, which later we modified into, Mahanadi, Paikmal Mahanadi Dhauli shear zone. Recently we are writing something telling that it is Paikmal Mahanadi Dhauli shear zone. Very long shear zone, It is right from the western margin, it is coming to the east. Now, the IIT Bhubaneswar is sitting over this shear zone. Over this shear zone, IIT Bhubaneswar is sitting. Now, point is, so I got the opportunity, to collect myelolytic samples from the IIT campus itself. So, by studying this shear zone, we found this is the strike slip shear zone. Almost horizontal lineations, though little plungings are there, but from the shear kinematics, I could see their right lateral shear zone. So, what we interpreted, this shear zone probably, offset this Terrane boundary shear zone right laterally or dextrally. That is why the western margin is like this. So much of curvature. So we described the salient and recesses. Probably this is a salient, this is a recess. And the main cause for this curvature, of the Eastern Ghat margin is this transverse shear zone. You can say it is Paikmal Mahanadi Dhauli shear zone or simple Mahanadi shear zone. This is the first transverse shear zone which offset this Terrane boundary and made a curvilinear outcrop pattern. Now, as you go further north, this Terrane margin becomes almost east-west, So there, multiple shear zones are there, multiple shear zones. Now, multiple shear zones, since they have been named, earlier people say it is a Kerajang shear zone. Kerajang shear zone, Kerajang is a small place very close to Rengali Reserve. But we named it as a Kamakhanagar shear zone because the same shear zone also passes through Kamakhanagar. So we have retained that KSZ. It stands for Kerajang shear zone or Kamakhanagar shear zone, whatever you say. So Kamakhanagar shear zone almost defines the northern boundary of Eastern Ghats. Then you have Riyamal shear zone, RSZ I have written, Riyamal shear zone. Then Barakot shear zone. So multiple shear zones are there. So these multiple shear zones are strike slip shear zones. They are present in an echelon manner. An echelon manner in the sense, if I draw it here, suppose this is Kerajang, then the Riyamal shear zone will be something like this. Then Barakot will be something like this. In this manner, they are arranged. So individually, these shear zones, they are dextral, They are, if I put the shear sense like this, like this. Like this. So these three NS11 shear zones, has dismembered both Eastern Ghat granulites as well as the cratonic gneisses. So now, because of this NS11 displacement, so one finds, in Eastern Ghat block, there may be a slice of Archean block, there may be a slice of another Eastern Ghat block, Archean block, because this is strike slip shear zone. So that means both Eastern Ghat as well as Archean rocks have been interfingered. They have been interfingered. And because of this interfingering, this Rengali province shows a different pattern, both lithologically as well as structurally. It shows a different pattern from the surrounding Singhbhum Craton and Eastern Ghat Mobile Belts. So one has to understand this pattern, to define or to work in this area. So Rengali province edges are also determined determined. But if you are biased, you will find only Archean edges. If you are biased, you will find only Eastern Ghats edges, proterozoic edges. But if you are a good structural geologist, so you will find both the edges. Because structurally also it is quite evident that one piece is Eastern Ghats, another piece is Archean. So it will show both the edges. So that is how this northern margin is defined. Now we will go to these areas in detail. So I'll just go to the next slide. This is a very old publication. As I told you, I have become very slow, nowadays. I am not generating any new data nowadays. So, but this was 2007 we have published of the nepheline cyanides. So nepheline cyanide is, this part is nepheline cyanide, this part is nepheline cyanide. Nepheline cyanide, this is near Babebi, this is Khariar is somewhere here, Khariar is here. So here, if you go sometimes, it is very interesting to see. There are bands of nepheline cyanide where magmatic fabrics are very much prominent. Magmatic fabrics are very much prominent. But there are patches within the same outcrop or little away, you will find what ST, tectonic fabric or the shear zone fabric. Both are remaining parallel. So those areas, we try to do the edge datings. So that produced, your 517 million years. Those rocks. But there are rocks which are showing 1.4, 1.4 bhi dikhata hai, 1.2 also it shows. So different edges are there. But we thought that shearing or the thrusting is during 517 million. Now this is the Lakhna area. So the Lakhna area, I told you, these are the Lakhna dike swarm. Lakhna dike swarm, multiple dikes are there, very long ranging, maybe 10 kilometer, 20 kilometer range dikes are there. So those dikes are a varied composition. Only one of the dike, just a minute, sir. This dike you can say, this dike is included in the myelonite. Other dikes are in the craton, but this dike is included in the myelonite. So this has been myelonitized, but it still preserves the dike character. That porphyritic texture is still preserved, and some of the components like zircons, very large zircon grains are you can find in this dike. So this also we have dated. These dikes are 1.4 billion year. That means these dikes were there over which thrust was superimposed. Because we have, as I told you, thrust is only 514 million. So this is that Lakhna dike swarm. Now you can see the Khariar basin, the proterozoic basins, Khariar basins, they are overlain the cratonic granites. Now, this part I was telling, this is a model, this is not a geological map. So I have drawn all these faults very straight. Faults cannot run very straight, This is just over a scale I have drawn it. So these are the three faults I have shown. This is Paikmal, Mahanadi shear zone. This is Kamakhanagar shear zone, Riyamal shear zone, and Barakat shear zones. Now, if you see this distribution of these shear zones, that NSLN pattern is very evident. And now, because of this Mahanadi shear zone, this Terrane boundary shear zone is offset. This much displacement has taken place. Now, that is why this flexure is produced. Now you can see the trend here. The folds are northeast, southwest. As you go closer to the shear zone, they become east-west. It is dragged parallel to the shear. So this is the full body flexure. So I have shown this folds, northeast, southwest folds becoming east-west fold, east-west. Now point is this drag is because of this large scale transverse faults that is to be understood. Now these three faults, these three faults, as I have drawn in the previous diagram, just a minute. In this diagram I have drawn, they occur in a n-echelon manner. N-echelon manner, I will come back to the map. Yeah, n-echelon manners. So now between these two faults, Terrane fault or the Kamakhya-Nagar fault and this Mahanadi faults, this Gondwana basin is created. This Gondwana basin is created. So probably this n-echelon nature, probably because of this n-echelon nature, if you have a like this setting this area probably undergone trans-tension, trans-tension, and this Gondwana basins were produced. Gondwana basins were produced. Now, the effect of this trans-tension one can realize, one can see by development of many normal faults. So along these shear zones, the shear zones have been reactivated as a normal faults. So many places one can find the down dip slicken lines over these faults. So probably this faulting took place after the shearing. The shear zones produce a trans-tensional setting, and the trans-tension led to normal faulting. So Gondwana basins are the product of that trans-tensional setting. So the tension produced those basins and the sediments are deposited. Now there are several Gondwana basins here. If you go to further Bastar Craton, number of Gondwana basins are there. Probably all of them are the result of such trans-tensional settings. So, but not much work has been done over this trans-tensional setting because of these transverse faults. We are working on that. Probably we will come out with good results. Okay. So this is how the areas they differ with their shear zones. Now, this map I have taken from Bose. So he has made a very good compilation, including our work also. So the Rengali province, he is showing this part. Rengali province is showing this part. Angul, this is Kerajang fault. This is Barakot fault. So Rengali province is, I should say, Rengali is like this, Rengali goes like this. This is Rengali. This is Rengali. This is Rengali. So to the north you have Singhbhum Craton, south you have Eastern Ghats. Now you see the edges. See the edges. So you see 2774. The Kamakhya-Nagar nice. 2774. 2809. New Archeans. Then you have as young as 488, 549 Pan-African edges. Then we have 966 Proterozoic edges. 2776. So this Rengali province is a combination of your Pan-African and your Archean or New Archean edges. That is why we thought probably because of this strike slip shearing, this Archean, the Singhbhum Craton rocks and the Proterozoic Eastern Ghat rocks, they have been sliced up and mixed together. So our concept, that thrusting is during Pan-African time has got some ground here also in the northern region. You see 480 million year age, 475, 498, 553. These edges, they are all Pan-African edges. This area also there are some Nephlin cyanates. The Kamakhya-Nagar area, there are some Nephlin cyanates. Those Nephlin cyanates are little older, 1227, 1077. And here Redhak hole, 1322. 1312. So these Nephlin cyanates shows that other structure, that older phases. So there is another paper by Sek from IIT Bombay. He has told that these Nephlin cyanates are older Nephlin cyanates. So they have come during metamorphism of Eastern Ghats, during deformation of Eastern Ghats. His paper says. And the thrusting is much afterward. The shearing is much afterward. So shearing might be around Pan-African time or 500, 400 during this period. So that holds for our observation from Khariar area. Khariar area is this. Khariar area, this is our observation. I think Bose has rightly quoted two edges. Two edges is quoted. 513, our age, and 407, 1471, maybe Upadhyaya, they have determined their edges. But Nasipuri and Bhattacharya, they have also quoted 513 or 500 million year edges for the western margins. So what I conclude, from this edge distribution, probably the Eastern Ghat rocks have been metamorphosed during 1300 million year time, but the final juxtaposition of Eastern Ghat rocks with the Craton took place during Pan-African time. So this juxtaposition, that Terrane boundary shear zone, is the result of such juxtaposition during Pan-African time. Earlier, what was the nature of boundary, we do not know. Nature of boundary, we do not know. That has been completely modified by this shearing. So because of this shearing, the western part shows a thrust boundary, whereas the northern part shows a strike slip boundary. The strike slip margin has shown several anisotropy strike slip shear zones, dextral shear zones, for which we are getting a mixing of Archean rocks and the Eastern Ghat rocks. Okay. Now, let us go to the next slide. Yeah. So these are student presentations. So from the western margin, so these are the myelonites. Excellent myelonitic structures. Textbook type of myelonitic structures. One can see the SC fabric. So this is northwestern side. So this is northwest version. The slide is, the photograph is taken in a vertical manner, but it has to be tilted towards west, little tilted towards west. So these are the SC fabric, showing the northwesterly versions. See here also the porphyroclast. Here also porphyroclast. These are the bookshelf structures. So all these features are very meticulously preserved in the western margin shear zone, and all of them point towards the northwesterly versions of the thrust. So telling that the Eastern Ghat granulites have been over thrusted the craton. As I told you, the age is 500 million years. Now, this is from the northern margin. As I told you, northern margin, this type of granites are not there. The advantage, interpreting the shear kinematics that we get in the western margin, because of that granite, that is not there in the northern margin. Northern margin, the metasediments are there. Here is a kyanite bearing rocks. But kyanite shows rotation. Kyanite behaves as a rigid inclusion, and they show rotation. This is a horizontal section. And you can see the right lateral shear. Here there is a quartzite, and you say the dextral shear. But in this case, this is a porphyroclast almost flattened, in khondalite. Here also quartzite, all horizontal outcrops showing dextral shearing. The point is, in this case, one has to really toil hard to find a good myelonitic outcrop. In the western margin, it is fantastically preserved, but here it is little dormant myelonites. That is why possibly, many people in the earlier days, they have interpreted it with thrust. They had told it is a Sukinda thrust. The northern margin is defined by Sukinda thrust. The Eastern Ghat has been over thrusted the Singhbhum Craton. But in fact, it is not like that. I'll just come back to this. I'll tell you. I'll just come back to the map. This one. So this margin, people say it is a thrust, Sukinda thrust. but in fact it is not a thrust. It is a strike slip shear zone. So this is very much well preserved. After that, many people have told this is a strike slip shear zone. Gautam also told, even Sehwal Gupta also told. Many people have established that this is a shear zone, not a thrust. But Sukinda thrust, there is a thrust, but that is very close to Sukinda ultramafics. So there is another thrust. So these two things are coexisting side by side. That is why many people confuse this was a thrust. But in fact, it is not a thrust, it is a strike slip shear zone, dextral shear zone. So now, this one we have covered. So this is the nephrine cyanide fabric. Now, if you see this second map, the second thin section, second photograph, you can see the feldspar crystals. Feldspar crystals, long, elongated, magmatic crystals. They are aligned parallel. This MF I have written magmatic foliation. Now, in the other photograph, you see this one, these feldspar crystals, they define the magmatic foliations. Whereas this is a metamorphic, this one. This is a metamorphic fabric. Tectonic fabric. That is a magmatic fabric. So metamorphic fabric, this gives your 1.4 billion year age. 1.4. This gives 0.5. So this 0.5 billion year we have taken as age of thrust. But this is the age of metamorphism. Okay. So these are after shearing, the area has undergone faulting. So we have identified two types of fault. One is a normal fault, the other one is a high angle strike slip faults. Normal faults are parallel to the shear zones, like Mahanadi shear zone, Mahanadi fault, Kamakhanagar shear zone, Kamakhanagar fault. Those faults we have interpreted as a reactivation of the shear zones. So those shear zones, when there is a lot of transtensional strain, so they have been reactivated as a normal fault. So those normal faults gave rise to Gondwana basics. And subsequently, there is another phase of strike slip faulting, which are high angle, they are north-south strike slip faultings. Some are occurring in conjugate manner. So from the conjugate angle, we have determined the direction of compression to be north-south. So all these features, belongs to a late stage brittle deformation structures. But strike slip shear zones are much before. They are Gondwana structures. Okay. Here we have done some vorticity analysis. So vorticity analysis, what it says, we have taken the RS by theta method. RS by theta method says you measure the grain size, grain shape. Mostly we are using the quartz grains, and their angle with the myelinatic foliation. These two ratios we have taken and plotted in the Tikhoff graph. So the Lakhna area, very interesting. The Lakhna area shows both transtensional as well as some are little transpressional to simple shear strain. Whereas the Kamakhanagar area, this Kamakhanagar is your blue color, they are mostly transtensional. One is transpressional. Otherwise, and the Paigmal Mahanadi area, they are mostly transtensional. So, though the shear zones are showing some transpression, but same time also transtension coexists. Transtensional strain coexists in it. Now, then we have calculated this RGN graph. RGN graph also says some same thing. The first one shows very much well within the transpression. The value is something around 0.38. But others, 0.67, 0.60, they are mostly pure shear dominated. First one is pure shear dominated, but other two are pure shear as well as simple shear. So it could be transpression, it could be transtension. But this will not tell you whether it is transtension or transpression. But the previous graph shows it is leading towards transtension. So that much you have to remember. So there are a lot of transtensional strain in this area. So we have made a comparison also here. We have made a comparison in this sense. So the blue colors are Kamakhya-Nagar area, the northern boundary. This color, violet color is from Paikmal, and this is Lucknow. So most of them, they are simple shear dominated, but pure shear components are there. It cannot be purely simple shear, and some are pure shear dominated also. These open graphs, pure shear dominated. Now these are fault plane analysis, fault plane normal faults which are occurring parallel to the shear zone. We are considering them to be the reactivation of the shear zones. This Kamakhya-Nagar shear zone or Riyamal, Mahanabi, they have been reactivated to a normal fault. So those faults are having north-south extension, north-south, northeast, southwest extension. Now, compression is vertical. So those are those normal faults. Below you have strike slip faults. The strike slip faults, we are seeing a north-south compression. They are occurring in a conjugate manner, north-south compression. So from normal fault, we have a north-south extension, but when you go to strike slip fault, they are north-northwest, south-southeast compression. So this variation from a north-south extension to north-south compression belongs to different period. One is just following the ductile shearing, the normal faulting took place. The other one is very late. The strike slip faults, north-south strike slip faults could be very late, maybe during breakup of Gondwana land, because during there are some dikes in Mahanadi basin which are Cretaceous age. So those dikes are emplaced in north-south directions. So one is very prominent, very close to Cuttack. One dike is there, Dolorite dike. So probably they are all breakup age, Cretaceous or Jurassic age. So probably this is a Cretaceous-Jurassic event, whereas normal faults are your maybe Pan-African or post-Pan-African event. Now I have come back to the old map. This could be my last slide. So what I have interpreted, we started that origin transverse faults. So our transverse faults are these faults: Mahanadi fault, Rengali fault or shear zone, Kamakhya-Nagar fault or shear zones. These faults. Now Eastern Ghat rocks are all northeast southwest. So I'll draw it for your little bit of clarity. So I'll draw it. So like this, it is a northeast southwest belt. Having all folds were like that, northeast southwest. So this is a 1.4 billion year event, 1.4 billion to 1 event. Maybe multiple events, but these are the events. Granuloid facies metamorphism also during that period of time. Then Pan-African event, the thrusting of Eastern Ghats Mobile Belt, and this transverse structure. These lot of transverse structures. The Paikmal Mahanadi, the Kerazang or the Kamakhya-Nagar, then Riyamal, Barakat, all these transverse structures, they modified this trend towards this. They modified this trend towards this direction, these directions. Now you are getting this full body flexure is here, full body flexure. Now this set of transverse structures, this is the area, transverse structure area. So they have undergone this transtensional tectonics. This transtension is because of NSLN arrangements, because of two reasons, NSLN arrangements, as well as individual shear zones has translational strain. Transtensional strain, individual shear zones they have. That is why there is this area, there is a north-south extension. North-south extension. Particularly this northern margin. So you have got so many Mahanadi, see these blue color ones. These are Eastern Ghat rocks. But these areas, they are Mahanadi Rip valleys. Mahanadi Rip valleys. So those Mahanadi Rip valleys. So Mahanadi Rip valleys are the product of this association of all these transverse faults and subsequent this transtensional strains. So because of this transtension along this NSLN faults, you are getting such a thick sequence of Gondwana rocks. Now these faults, they are extending further towards west to Narmada rivers. Narmada rivers. So you get so many Gondwana deposits. If you go further to Jharsuguda and other areas, you will get a lot of Gondwana deposits there. So probably these faults are continuing. They are Cratonic or transcontinental type. If you consider the individual craton is a continent. So those transverse structures are responsible for such Gondwana deposits. Now we have been further taken these rocks to Antarctica. We have taken them to Antarctica. So this is your Lambert gravel. So Rengali province which is occurring to the north, we are correlating with Pritz Bay associations. So all these things happened, the Antarctica and India correlation becomes easier or more conformative because of these transverse structures. So transverse structures are very important and which is due to the Terrane boundary shear zones. So they have to be studied much more in detail. So all this my study. I think I have finished my talk. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for such a wonderful talk, actually.
Oh, yeah. So if
Now,
you have something to ask,
yes. Now the platform is open for discussion.
Yeah. I have discarded those write-ups from the web.
Yes. I think Iron Bath has raised his hand. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, excellent talk, sir. It was nice listening you for so long. So I just wanted to know that what do you think is the origin of these transverse structures and what are their edges?
Origin, you see, so the Terrane margin, it is a matter of juxtaposition between the mobile belt and the craton. Now mobile belt and the craton, you see, so this one, suppose you have a mobile belt. Now it has been thrusted up towards Bastar Craton. Now this thrusting amount, the amount of thrusting may be somewhere 5 kilometer, somewhere maybe 10 kilometer. So there will be, the margin will be like this, curvilinear, differential displacements. So as a result, what happens between these two, a strike slip fault develops. Uneven displacements. Because a decolma, when it works with two different displacements, between two different displacements, a strike slip fault develops. So probably, say the western margin of Eastern Ghats. So this part I am talking, the curvilinear nature like this. So this is say 20 kilometer. This is 5 kilometer. So probably between them this strike slip fault has been. Differential movement on the northwestern margin.
Okay.
So that is
Sir,
the origin. Age is 500 million, as I told you.
Okay. Sir, did you find any evidence that there was like the diploma horizon was different in different areas or something like that?
That we have seen. that during our mapping 2007 papers, we have in fact defined the basalt decolma followed by
Yes.
three napes, three thrust sheets, Sinnapalli nape, then Dharamgad nape, Lakhna nape, they are occurring one above the other, separated by the thrust planes. This is what we have discovered sometimes 2007. It is there. It is there. On basis of that we have told all these things.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Any more questions? Yes, Patel sir has one question. I think, yeah, Patel sir, please go ahead. Patel sir, can you hear me, sir?
Tapas sir, good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening, Ramesh.
Really, it is excellent talk actually, and you know that I work in the Himalaya, but really I enjoyed this talk too much.
Yes, Ramesh.
And
Yes.
actually, this is from our area, so really I was very exciting to listen your talk actually.
Thank you.
Actually, sir,
Ramesh.
my one just just question is that this the Terrane shear zone, it is dipping towards southeast.
Yes.
And it is developed around 500 million years ago.
Correct.
So that means that time it was part of the Gondwana land.
Correct.
So how is this compressional fault is developed actually? What is the mechanism? What may be the mechanism actually? Is it?
No, definitely compressional. A thrust can
But
develop only compressional
okay,
region.
what happened actually that time? Probably two continents separate continents collided, or what happened actually?
Actually, see, this Eastern Ghats, has undergone multiple orogenies.
Okay.
Right from Colombia, say 1.4, 1.5, then Rhodesia, 900 to 1000, then Pan African. Every orogenic phase, this type of compressional tectonics has affected this area. And between two compressional tectonics, one extensional tectonic has also happened. Like now, another sides of Chilka Lake is 800 million year, related to some extensional tectonics. So probably during Pan-African time, the belt has undergone a compressional tectonics between Antarctica and Bastar Craton. So that made these granulite blocks, pushed up, thrusted up over the Bastar Craton.
Okay.
Definitely compressional.
Yeah, that actually I know that compression, but what happened? Which two continents has collided or
Yeah,
something?
because these are two only together, Antarctica and Bastar,
Okay.
or the Bhandara Craton. These are together.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Ramesh. Thank you, Ramesh.
Any more questions? Sir, I have, yeah, I think, Apnes. Yeah,
Sir,
please go ahead.
good
Yeah.
evening, sir. Hello.
Good evening.
Sir, thank you so much, sir, for the talk. Sir, my question is about Bengali province. I have read some papers, and they mentioned it is not means by geophysical data, aeromagnetic and magnetic, and those signals. They are telling that it is not part of Singhbhum Craton or Bastar Craton or EGMB. Means, can you tell me about? Can you give me clarity about the ring?
See, yeah. So I told you, even the person who has named it as Bengali province, see, right from
Yes, sir.
Nas, Crow,
Yes, sir. Yes,
those
sir.
people, they have identified it to be distinct terrain
Yes,
between
sir.
Singhbhum Craton and Eastern Ghats.
Yes,
Eastern
sir.
Ghats. That has been published. And you see Ramakrishna and Nanda map, Ramakrishna, Nanda and others, their map.
Yes, sir.
So this strip of land, they show at the northern Eastern Ghat Mobile Belt. Eastern Ghat Mobile Belt they have included. Madamara complex, all those are Eastern Ghat Mobile Belts. Like this, the controversy still exists. But what I am interpreting, based on this geochronological data.
Yes,
Geochronology data shows in a mixture of edges. I showed you 2.8 and
Yes,
also
yes.
0.5. So my interpretation is if the area is affected by NSL and shearing, probably both Singhbhum Craton and Eastern Ghats rocks has been sliced up and mixed together. That is my interpretation. So otherwise people have told this is a separate terrain.
Oh, yes.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, okay.
you are
Yes.
correct.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Any more questions? Sir, I have one quick question. Sir, you said in the northern part of the Eastern Ghats Mobile Belt, we have a series of strike slip shear zones.
Correct, correct,
And these strike slip shear zones interact and they formed a transtensional zone. Okay.
correct.
So, is there any evidence for the strike slip parallel extension in that area?
Strikely parallel extension.
Yeah.
See, see, any strike slip fault will have a component, extensional components parallel to its length.
Yes.
If you see this train ellipse, I think you are acquainted with that. If you see this train ellipse, like this, there will be extension in this direction. Extension in this direction. So, it will be there. But what we have seen, right angle to it, right angle to these faults, there will be, if suppose this is the fault, there will be extensional fault like this, na?
Yes.
Yeah. So we do not have direct evidence of stretching parallel to the fault plane, but we have extensional faults along which quartz bands have been emplaced.
Okay.
So they are the indirect evidence of stretching parallel to the fault.
Okay.
Probably.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Any more questions?
Good evening, sir. I have a question.
Yes.
Please go.
Sir, can you please elaborate about the magmatic foliation and tectonic foliation which you described in the western part of the...
Neptune silent. See,
Yes, sir.
this is very well described by Peterson. Peterson, if you just search magmatic foliation and tectonic foliation, very well described. So what it says, if there is a deformation going on, say shearing, there is a shearing, some shearing event going on like this, strike slip shearing, and a magmatic emplacement is taking place here. So since these are the direction of stretching, so the minerals will now try to align, some minerals will try to align like this, like this, like this, like this. Some will show at an angle like this. So these are the magmatic foliations. And you can see individual minerals, they will have clear-cut margins. The boundaries will be very sharp, as I showed you.
So
So they will
magmatic
show parallel.
sorry, sir.
Yes, sir. About these magmatic foliations, I wanted to know about the age constants to which you have linked these. You said magmatic foliations were of roughly around 500 million years age,
Yes.
whereas the tectonic foliations showed a much higher age of 1.4 gigaannum.
See, there are two stages of tectonic foliations. One is the tectonic foliation which is developed during shearing. During shearing, some foliation must have developed, myelonitic
Yes, sir.
foliation, we say. Another tectonic foliation developed during metamorphism, folding. That is 1.4.
Yes, sir.
But the shear foliation, that is also tectonic foliation, that is 500 million year. That is parallel to magmatic foliation. Two tectonic foliations.
Actually, there are two tectonic foliations. One of them is okay.
One. Exactly.
So this
you.
magmatic foliation, can you say it is a primary foliation?
Exactly. Primary foliation only.
Yeah.
The primary
Because
foliation.
those are included along the some
Shear zone.
shear zone, na? That's why just
Correct.
I think Anupam sir has raised. Anupam sir, please go ahead, sir. Anupam sir, please go ahead.
Uh, Good afternoon, Tapulda.
Yes, Anupam, bolo.
I entered a bit late in your into your lecture. I was busy somewhere, so I missed much earlier part of your lecture. So that's why I was not asking. But one thing I wanted to clarify just is that very recently you may have noticed that there are a number of papers from this presidency group. There are a couple of papers in tectonophysics and Journal of Metamorphic Geology that they are showing very clearly that this Mahanadi shear zone, it has a transpressional character. I mean, they have shown triclinic transpression, and from metamorphic angle, they have shown that this pulmonary domain, which is south of this shear zone and of this Mahanadi shear zone, and the area north of it, they have a kind of different temperature, pressure of metamorphism, and they have collided along and thrusted along the Mahanadi shear zone, and triclinic transpression they have explained with vorticity analysis also, and even they have advocated this kind of contrasting metamorphism to a paired metamorphic belt kind of situation where there is some subduction along this zone. So, what is your take on that? There has been papers published by these people.
Yeah, I have seen that. Point is, this Mahanadi shear zone, which this Pike Mal Mahanadi, if you can see this, our finding, you see, our finding, the blue color one, you see these 2 points, they are falling very in transtension field. But you see this one, this is falling in the transpression field. So actually, it has both the characters. So probably some stages it was transpression and some stages it is a tension, or both the things might have happened simultaneously.
No, but tectonically there has to be. I mean, if these two terrains are also undergoing metamorphism and there is a juxtaposition of two different metamorphic terrains, then the tectonic in your all these vorticity analysis and related these things data has as is also even clear from your own plots that there can be a lot of overlap because the this calculations of vorticity from these methods, they have some kind of uncertainty.
Yes.
So in general, they are very close to simple shear. So maybe there is a strong simple shear component along that zone that is clear from your diagrams. But tectonically, when these two terrains are juxtaposed, that there must have been some collision, some kind of subduction along that, if they are correct. What I am telling, I'm not the worker, so I'm not party to any particular this thing theory. But what I have seen is that recently they have published a few papers exactly on this zone, and they are giving a completely contrasting tectonic view from what you have said. So that is my confusion. Then what is the possible text?
Possibly. See, a second thing is, all of them have described it to be thrust. Mahanadi shear zone is a thrust. Because subduction they have brought. It is a thrust tectonics. Thrust tectonics generally it has
they have given in their paper they have described this as an oblique transpressional zone. So it is basically a thrust combined with some kind of a wrenching.
Yes, wrenching. But in my work, I have worked for the eastern sites. This IIT plus Mahanadi plus Gaudi. They are purely strike slip faults. There is no horizontal lineations. So there is no wrench or there is no thrusting signature at all. So from place to place it varies. From place to place it varies. So to say, entire Mahanadi shear zone is to be a thrust or transpression, that is also not, I should not say it is correct. They have found out in some region it is like that. But in some other region also it is showing this picture. And secondly, metamorphism is concerned. Metamorphisms are very old. They are not during formation of the shear zone. Metamorphism is 1.4 billion year. Mr. Patel from IIT Bombay, that SEC, they have identified metamorphism to be 1.4 billion year. But shear zones are only 500 million year. So these are two different events.
No, that they have taken care of. They are showing that there is a different tectonothermal event, earlier event and the younger event. That is
Younger
there.
events.
That is not a problem, huh? But this contrasting tectonic scenario, I was unable to understand properly. That's why I was asking. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I think Sayan has also raised his hand. Sayan, please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for such a captivating talk. It's always delightful to hear you. I have two queries. Questions, sir. First is in the northern part of the Eastern Ghats Mobile Belt, you have shown that there is 2 or 3 parallel right lateral strike slip shear zones. So my question is there any possibility that in that kind of situation where there is parallel or subparallel shear zones one after one, we can expect some like regional scale riddle shear tectonics in between those shear zones parallel
You mean to say riddle fractures?
yes sir, riddle fractures
It is there. It is there. We have not documented those structures so much, but it is there. As I told you, there is a right angle extension along the shear zones. So there are quartz vents intrusions has taken place. So probably some of them could be riddle also. Some of them could be riddle. But we have not seen those riddle structures, from that angle. But it must be there. It must be.
So okay, so thank you. Another question is, sir, I was curious that if the kinematic bodicity number can directly indicate the transpression or tension, or we should look for other evidences as well with the kinematic bodicity number to comment on that.
There are two ways of finding the kinematic vorticity number. One is your RGN analysis, another one is RS by theta analysis. So RS by theta, it gives the last stage strain, the late stage strain. So this also gives a number, and RGN gives a average vorticity number, average value. So other features, there are many associated features of a transpression. Like, in a case of transpression, you will get thrusting, you will get folds. In case of translation, you will get pull apart basins, you will get the fibers, quartz vein fibers. All those features are to be seen. But we have only attempted this strain analysis. But both have to go parallel.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Seems like we have no more question. I think we should conclude the session then. I think I should request maybe Dilip sir or Dhruva sir to give a formal vote of thanks. So, Dhruva sir, can you hear me, sir? Yeah, Dilip sir, you can go ahead, sir.
Okay. Can we propose the vote of thanks?
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Taposh, it looks a lot of work.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I know. I know it is a lot of field work, a lot of work we have done. And so congratulations on that. And thank you for giving a very, very illustrative and insightful presentation.
Thank you,
And subsequently, there are a lot of questions, as you know that very well, that they should be taken with pride rather than any other meaning.
Yes.
So thank you, Taposh.
Thank you, Dada. Thank you,
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I think I should conclude the session. Thank you all. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dada.
Taposh, thank you for your.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. So I can quit now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.